Today, doing another SP case swap. This time we're going into a Pokemon Pikachu case. We got everything that we need sitting here. All the buttons and everything are already in place on that. As usual. Let's go through and... I shouldn't say as usual. But let's go ahead and get the screen in place on here. Everything else slightly out of the way that we don't need. This one actually already has a sticker in place on the back. We're still going to go ahead and place the other one on there. There we go. Our front screen film. And if any of you have watched any of my videos before, you know I take that and place it right back on it on the other side. Kind of helps with two things. One of just helping keeping the screen actually in place while we continue to work on the console. It also keeps me from getting fingerprints and other stuff on there. Yes, I know I'm wearing gloves and I just said something about fingerprints, but you know what? It still happens. Nice double-sided tape on the back side of there. Still looking for a good way to get this paper off. Once in a while I get extremely lucky with the dental pick and it just peels up just like that. One thing that you usually could do too before you actually place the screen in is go ahead and attach these cables. Just make it a little easier. And then the piece goes right on the back just like that. Now, one thing with these before you fully attach is curl it down and towards underneath itself. And that's just so when you actually start to open and close this, it is already wrapped around in the correct direction on there. Get our pieces out. Oh, they gave us 3 of those little caps. I only need 2. And these screws are actually a short tri-wing. One in each corner, and then the center at the top. Usually try to put the center one in, and then I'll put the two bottom corners in. Sorry, I know my hands are in the way. We are also back on our old camera right now. That's because our new one is being used currently right now to shoot another video. A lot of times, I know, let's see, hey, save some money, trade my old stuff in, or go try to eBay it, that, get a little bit of money back in that, but sometimes it's good to hold on to your old equipment. Because you never actually know if you might need it for another video. One thing we're going to do is go ahead and pre-tin the spot. And that's actually where our other wire goes on to. Get the case pulled apart here. Ooh, my dot might be too big. My dot is too big. It's easy enough to fix. Soldering iron will, if you have a clean tip, the soldering iron will actually pick that up. So just kind of clean and tap and clean and tap. Just use those pliers to hold that down. Got a little speaker fuzz in. And just like the kits we sell, you will need the speaker and the hinges from your old console. Those are not included in this kit or really any of the other ones. So it is something that you will need to provide from your system. And the wire that's getting soldered right now, that is the wire for the adjustable brightness. There are multiple brightness settings on this. So that's actually what that one is set for, or what it actually does for us, the multiple brightness settings. And I will pull this a little closer since you can't really see it right now. So like I said, we're using our other camera, but what we're soldering onto is this right here. So you have the U83, C87, and you have the Q12B. That's literally the one right to the bottom of the Q12B, which is what that one is set for. That's where you're going to solder that red wire to. Compared to the pockets and a lot of the other ones, this one actually has the least amount of soldering, but has a much larger pain in the butt for getting this board attached to that cable. A lot of times I will put the holder card back in. This just actually helps hold all of the buttons and everything, keeps them from popping out during transport. Really convenient card to have. And there to go and try to get all of this lined up. And I don't like putting my hinges in until last. It's just, I have spare hinges. So it's totally fine. I just don't like to do it. Mostly if I have a problem with something, I want to know ahead of time. This part is a struggle. Alright, just using this and the end of that to push the clips down that hold that ribbon cable. I know it's harder the order that I do this in for actually attaching some of these pieces, but it makes it a little easier for me, especially if there's like a small issue with something. I can take care of it fairly quickly. It's easy to get to, the pieces are there. Well, shouldn't really say they're there, but they're out of my way. And it's the first time I've ever had that be that much of a problem for me. Now we can pull our card out. Make sure our wire is out of the way of any of our buttons. That's set on top. And there's 3 gold screws in this kit. And use those for attaching the motherboard to the case. Here, here, and one right there. And there's also going to be a small little square piece that goes in that square hole right there. They don't come pre-installed, mostly because they fall out during shipping. A lot just from getting bounced around, but that is actually what the battery cover on the back screws into. Got a power switch here. We have our multiple levels of brightness. So I know we are all good to go there. And on the back, one thing too in doing this, you have different size screw lengths on the back of the console. So when you take yours apart, pay attention and don't put a long screw where you're supposed to have a short screw, because you will punch through the case. And it's usually this one that it's usually this one right here. A lot of people have a screw that's too long and they'll end up shoving it in there and it ends up popping through the front of the case. And it just makes for bad times. When I'm doing my screws, I try to do the center, 2 centers, and then I'll do opposite corners. Don't always do it like that, especially if you've seen some of my other ones, but it really just helps kind of torque the thing down nice and evenly. You don't need to crank the screws either. It's gonna go finger tight. Might feel it popping or hear it popping a little bit like mine. But once you turn and you start getting resistance on it, a good amount of it, stop. Now what we can do is go ahead and put our hinges in. There's a rotational edge on the hinge. It's kind of keyed on the back side. That's not going to show up on there at all. Oh yeah, right there. So when you're putting it in, There's slots down in there that it kind of matches up with. And that's where you want to try to get that lined up. And it can take some force to get them in. Even lined up. Take some effort to get them in. And what I'm doing is I'm actually pushing it against my table on the edge to get it lined, get them pushed in all the way. So you should be able to get it that far by hand. And pushing against the table will get it popped in the rest of the way. Little yellow screw covers in. And we are working. Battery is almost dead, as expected. I'll go ahead and get the last of these stickers on. There we go. And Pikachu is reborn. If you haven't seen our video on the Easy Flash Omega, go check that out. But this console will be up in the store hopefully by the end of today. Anyways, thanks for stopping in. Have a good night.